What if I told you that there are people who quietly carry a kind of exhaustion around others? Not because they want to hurt anyone, or because they hold some dark hatred inside, but simply because being around people feels heavy in a way they can't fully explain. I'm not talking about dangerous hatred or violent impulses. That's an entirely different world, and we all understand how wrong that is. I'm speaking about the individuals who recoil from crowds, who skip gatherings without guilt, who feel more at home with their pets than with a room full of familiar faces. The ones who love peace the way others love noise. The ones who prefer a small, safe circle instead of a wide social web. They are not cruel. They don't wish harm on anyone. They just long for space, silence, and the comfort of being unseen for a while. And the real question is, why do some people feel this way so deeply? Why do they avoid interactions that others find energizing? Why do they create distance instead of connection? Most people assume that disliking social engagement is the same as being unfriendly or antisocial, but that's far from the truth. For many, the reason sits far beneath the surface. It's not about coldness or arrogance. There is a psychological story behind it, and for a lot of people, that story is heavier than they let on. And when you begin to explore that inner landscape, you start to understand that this experience is more common than most people admit out loud. You might even hear pieces of your own life in these patterns. And if you do, you're not alone. This journey isn't about blaming the world. It's about understanding why some individuals feel disconnected from it. Picture the first group, the ones who carry the scars of betrayal. These are the people who pull away because every close connection they ever leaned on has left a mark. Their distance is not born from coldness. It is born from pain. Somewhere in their past, trust was offered with an open hand and crushed without warning. Maybe it was a friend who vanished when they needed them the most. Maybe it was a partner who promised loyalty but delivered heartbreak. Maybe it was a family member who wounded them in a way that still echoes years later. Whatever the source, that emotional injury didn't fade with time. It hardened. It stayed alive like an old bruise that never fully healed. When someone has been deeply wounded by a people, their mind starts rewriting its rules. Each betrayal becomes another lesson. Over time, the brain starts whispering the same sentence over and over. Opening up leads to pain. Trust leads to disappointment. People eventually hurt you. And even if they want to believe differently, experience keeps dragging them back to the same conclusion. So they start building walls instead of bridges. They distance themselves before anyone else has the chance to repeat that old wound. They become guarded, not because they enjoy isolation, but because closeness feels like a risk they can no longer afford. That's why animals become their refuge. Pets don't betray trust. They don't gossip or abandon or break promises. Their affection is simple, steady, and pure. For someone who has been emotionally bruised by humans, that kind of love feels like a quiet miracle. It is easy, it is safe, it asks for nothing but presence. So the betrayed soul finds solace in animals and creates more and more distance from the world of people. Not because they hate humanity, but because they are tired of being hurt by it. Now imagine another kind of person, the one who longs for peace in a world that constantly misunderstands them. These people are not rejecting others. They are protecting their own inner stability. Their retreat isn't a sign of dislike. It is an act of self-preservation. They crave quiet because their mind becomes foggy when surrounded by too much noise. They step away from social spaces because constant stimulation drains them rather than energizes them. But society doesn't always accept that. When they choose solitude, people misinterpret it. Some assume they are cold. Others assume they think they are superior. Some label them strange, complicated, distant, or unfriendly. And the judgments never stop. The irony is painful. The more they retreat to keep themselves grounded, the more society criticizes their withdrawal. And the more they are criticized, the deeper they pull back. It becomes a loop of misinterpretation that slowly transforms into resentment. Not because they actually hate people, but because people keep demanding explanations for something that comes naturally to them. They don't want to isolate themselves out of bitterness. They isolate because their mental well-being depends on it. Yet instead of understanding, they receive pressure. Instead of acceptance, they receive labels. And eventually, even though they never wanted to feel negatively about others, they begin resenting the constant noise, the expectations, the misunderstandings, and the emotional demands that never seem to pause. Then there is the third type, the one who carries a deeper, more intense frustration with humanity as a whole. These individuals have accumulated so many experiences of disappointment, humiliation, or injustice that their view of people becomes tinted by bitterness. Their anger doesn't appear out of nowhere. It builds slowly through years of feeling stepped on, unheard, used, or dismissed. Some of them have been surrounded by selfishness for so long that they begin seeing selfishness everywhere. Some have been lied to so often that honesty feels like a myth. Their resentment grows from unresolved emotional injuries that no one helped them navigate. Unlike the peace seeker, who simply wants quiet. This group looks at human behavior with sharp skepticism. They notice the fake smiles, the manipulations, the hypocrisy, the inconsistency. They highlight every flaw they encounter because those flaws reinforce what they already believe. That people are unreliable, self-centered, and harmful. Their defenses turn into disdain, and their disdain turns into a worldview. They avoid relationships not because they need peace, but because they no longer see the point of engaging with what they believe is a fundamentally disappointing species. It's a harsh perspective, but it didn't form overnight. It formed from wounds that were never addressed and from anger that was never soothed. When you put all of this together, you start to see that people who seem to dislike others aren't always driven by cruelty or arrogance. Their distance often springs from pain, exhaustion, or self-protection. Humans are complicated. Our emotional histories shape our patterns far more than we realize. And understanding these patterns doesn't mean justifying negative behavior. It means opening a window into why those behaviors exist in the first place. So if you've ever found yourself disliking social situations or feeling disconnected from people, think about which of these stories echoes inside you. Or maybe your experience is completely different. Maybe your reasons come from something personal and unique to your own journey. And if you've never felt this way at all, what do you think when you meet people who do? Do you judge them? Do you misunderstand them? Or do you wonder what shaped them into who they are? Wherever you stand, conversations like these help us see one another more clearly. And if this gave you a different perspective, stay with us. There is so much more to uncover about the human mind. If this resonated with you, share your thoughts, join the discussion, and become part of a community where deeper thinking is welcomed.